Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us once more for this week's SEL Spotlight. Today, we're talking about staying healthy. I am Mrs. Gonzalez, one of the school counselors here at Compass Charter Schools, and I invite you to get started with me today with a little warm-up. I want to throw a scenario at you. We have a scholar by the name of Sammy. She just bought a car. It's an expensive car, very well made, top-of-the-line machine. Sammy says that the car runs so well that it doesn't need any care. She never washes it, doesn't add oil, and tries to drive it everywhere without adding any gas. And when she does add gas, she buys the cheapest brand. So the car runs well for a few miles, but over time the gunk from the cheap gas starts to build up in the engine. What do you think will happen to the car? Most people would guess that the car will break down, and I am right there with you. The car is a machine, and without proper care, the machine breaks down. On the flip side, though, what do you think is going to happen when the machine is well taken care of? If you guess that it'll run well, I think you would be right. And what if I told you that the human body runs exactly the same way? I mean, I know we're not machines, we're not cars, but if you take good care of your body, it will run very well for a long time. If not, it begins to break down. So, as you may have guessed, today we will be focusing on learning how to keep our bodies healthy and running well. So I want you to pause for a moment and think about all the things that you ate and did yesterday. Did you eat breakfast? What did you eat for breakfast? Did you eat candies, cookies, and soda or coffee? How many servings of fruit did you eat? Did you drink enough water? Were the food portions that you ate too much, too little, just right, or maybe none at all? Now, thinking about the things that you did, regardless of the reason why you may have stayed up late, did you stay up late? Did you get enough sleep at night? Did you get any sleep at all? Did you get at least 1 hour of exercise? And did you socialize or talk to anyone yesterday? So you may have heard this before, but just in case you didn't know, foods that are high in sugar, like cookies, candy, and juices, and drinks that are high in caffeine, like soda, energy drinks, and coffee, might give you a burst of energy, which the body uses up pretty quickly, but you also are susceptible to the energy crash that you experience when the energy quickly drops, leaving you feeling tired and lethargic. So lethargic is actually another word for slow. And in addition to this, when you don't get enough sleep and you don't do physical activity, it actually affects not just your energy levels, but your mood and your performance throughout the day. So you might find someone that's kind of grumpy, right? So sleeping well and getting in a daily dose of exercise helps people look and feel their best because this creates energy. And going back to this car example that we looked at earlier, when you give a car quality gas, and in our case, in our bodies, it's food, quality food, you give the car maintenance, so in the case of our bodies, sleep and exercise, the car will keep running for a long time. And for our bodies, this means living a healthier life for a longer amount of time. So how else can you create energy? Well, one surefire way is by having a balanced diet. And what is a balanced diet? It's not balancing some fruits and vegetables, as you can see here in this picture, balancing them on each other. A balanced diet means eating different kinds of food in proper quantities. And eating a balanced diet is one of the best things that you can actually do to help yourself with your thinking and your concentration. It gives your body the nutrients it needs to work and grow so your brain can do its job. It helps your hair and your bones grow stronger. And for all you ladies and gentlemen that like to look your best, eating a balanced diet will help you do just that. People's skin even looks better when they regularly eat balanced meals. So it's really, really a key piece of improving your health or maintaining your health. So if we look at this picture here, you'll see a plate with some imaginary food. What do you think this chart is, or why, I should say, why is this chart in the shape of a plate? If you guess that the design shows what your meals should look like, then you are correct. It's a visual to help people remember how much of the different food groups we should be eating in each meal. So let's break it down. As you can see here, grains. This includes breads, cereals, rice, and pasta that are high in proteins and carbohydrates. Proteins and carbohydrates are important for creating energy. And I should add that half of the grains that we eat should be whole. For example, like whole grain pastas and a whole grain bread. Now let's look over on the other side of the plate for fruits and veggies. So vegetables and fruits are high in vitamins and nutrients. They help the body fight infections and disease. And then fruits are also a good source of sugar, which the body can turn into energy when it's eaten in small amounts. And then I want to zoom out a little bit here so that you can see. You'll notice that half of this plate pretty much is fruits and vegetables, with the vegetables being a little bit bigger, right, than what should be on your plate. So that would be, the adequate portion for those two food groups. Let's look at, excuse me, proteins. So this is going to include like meats, poultry, fish, beans, eggs, nuts. And proteins are actually considered the building blocks of the body. So they're super important. And then finally, we have this small blue cup up here in the corner next to the plate. And this represents fat-free and low-fat dairy products like yogurt, milk, and cheese. And these are high in vitamins and another important nutrient that's called calcium, which some of you are already familiar with. Calcium helps your bones, teeth, and nails grow stronger. And we should have at least 1 cup of dairy with each meal. And for those people that are lactose intolerant, I feel you. And if this is your case, then you have the option to drink like lactose-free dairy or calcium-fortified soy milk. So you have options. And I want you to note that the foods that are high in sugar and fat are actually not on this plate. I don't know if you noticed that, but it is important that when and if you do eat these foods, that you do so sparingly, which is another word for hardly ever at all, or in very small quantities, because they do slow the body down. Sugary foods include like soda and candy. And foods that are high in fat and oils include potato chips, French fries, hamburgers, and fried chicken. Hopefully I'm not making you hungry here. But eating too many of these kinds of foods can actually affect your skin and your body in some really unhealthy ways. One other thing that I want to note on this chart is that it shows you not only what foods to eat, but most importantly, it shows you in what amounts, right? So as I mentioned earlier, half of this plate is fruits and vegetables, and we have a smaller portion down at the right bottom that shows the protein, and then above it the grain. So it gives you a picture, a visual representation of not only what to eat, but in what amounts. So you can follow this chart to ensure that you are having healthy, balanced meals. And here's a real life example of what that plate would actually look like. Not bad, right? I mean, this looks like a delicious meal that I would absolutely eat. So eating healthy doesn't necessarily mean eating tasteless or icky food, right? So hopefully you found today's information useful, and that you also will use the My Plate chart to help you plan your next meal. I will include a link to the government site for the My Plate so that you can learn more and maybe pick up some recipes along the way if you're interested. I do want to say that on behalf of the entire Counseling Services Department, I do thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.